As soon as that's up, I will be muting my mic and turning it over to you.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to ACIM Gather. We are streaming live on our YouTube channel, ACIM Gather, and we're in Pal Talk live. You can listen there, ACIM Gather. My name is Audrey Whitehead, and I'm going to be reading Living A Course in Miracles, an essential guide to the classic text by Mundy. I have read some of this book before and have found it very helpful. I started really reading A Course in Miracles in 2018, 2019. One of my first experiences was with Sarah Humerit. I don't know if that's a recognizable name to some of you, but she was instrumental for me in continuing her and Dawn with the path. They had meetings here in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, where I am, and just a beautiful couple and beautiful joinings. They would have meetings, book study. I did a book study with them, This Moment Is Your Miracle, and got to do my first reading with A Course in Miracles was a manual for teachers. And yeah, I'm just really grateful for where everything has led me and brought me, and I'm grateful that Lynn has agreed that I can read and share. So with all of that being said, let's get into this book. And if you have the book and you want to follow along, that would be great. I don't have YouTube up right now or Pal Talk, but when I get a little more comfortable here, I'm going to try to see if there's questions or anybody that wants to kind of jump in and join and stuff. So if you do have anything really important to say, I can't really see you, so you're welcome to jump in. Chapter 1, There Must Be Another Way, How It Came to Be. And from text, chapter 4, section 1, or paragraph 111. I'm not going to really read those every time, so we all know that the quotes are within A Course in Miracles, and if needed, I can put them in a chat at some point. But here's the quote under chapter 1's heading. A good teacher clarifies his own ideas and strengthens them by teaching them. And what a great first line, because although I don't, like this Audrey character, wouldn't consider herself a quote unquote good teacher. What I do know is that I do want to clarify what's in this mind. And I do trust that as I do clarify things and bring them out and see them, that my goal of shifting my mind to see the miracle always, a change of perspective, that is strengthened as I talk about what's happening, and I can now see the experiential experience rather than the intellectualized learning. So, wow, a good teacher clarifies his own ideas and strengthens them by teaching them. So I guess I would be considered a good teacher because I'm going to clarify my own ideas and I'm be strengthening them. So no longer need to say I'm not a good teacher, because I am, and so are you. A Course in Miracles is the wisest, sanest, deepest book I know. It is a unique spiritual document, a self-instructional textbook, eloquent in its loveliness and level of psychological sophistication. It is a modern spiritual classic regarded by many as the most important book since the Bible. Oof, that is a big statement there. Wow, I love that. That is Wow, since the Bible, that's incredible. It is clearly a document of the 20th and the 21st centuries, simultaneously simple and erudite. Now, I don't know what that means, or if it's even pronounced erudite. I'm going to look it up because I don't like when I don't know what a word means, and because it's not clarified to me. It's having or showing great knowledge or learning. So having or showing great knowledge or learning. So yeah, so the 20th and 21st centuries, simultaneously simple and of great knowledge or learning. Awesome. It calls for a wholly different, WHOLLY, way of seeing, completely outside the realm of what we call the ego and physical sight. It is also an eminently practical book, as it is trying to help us to stop the mind's insane machinations, heal all distorted frames of reference, and regain control of our right mind, which I have underlined from the time I've read this before, that the mind's insane mechanisms really heal all distorted frames of reference. Though that's my guilt and just everything that's being projected onto the world, and regaining control of my right mind. That's seeing the miracle and shifting into that just immediately. I loved yesterday. I was listening to Pal Talk, and Regis was on there. He gave a talk yesterday, and it talked about the mind's insanity. And I love how he just gave examples of how people say, like, you talk about it as the ego, or some people talk about it as their, I forget all the things he said, I'm sorry. But he just said it in more than just a spiritual sense. It was also a worldly sense, where maybe people that aren't so spiritual all the time are able to maybe hear, because part of ACIM for me at the start was it is very heavily God and Jesus speak. And of course that triggered me because of my beliefs, and I still have a bit of a time with it, and I've discovered it's because of the word God, and it's almost come to be not something that I am struggling with. It's that my definition of God, I don't believe is what the world's definition is. And so there's an uncomfortableness with the word, because I feel like as I say it, it's misunderstood. I say the word God, it's already laden with so much that I don't feel my truth can overcome the heaviness of the word. So I just sort of flip it if I hear it and that's happening, and that's been working for me, because I just like to use a more neutral word for myself. Anyway, it is an eminently practical book, as I said. So it stops the mind's insane mechanisms, heals all distorted frames of reference, and regains control of our right mind. It helps in the development of trust, honesty, tolerance, gentleness, joy, defensiveness, generosity, patience, faithfulness, open-mindedness, and more. I can attest to that. I mean, I used to be really very angry and driving, all those things. And I really see a change in this person with regards to the development of trusting, being able to even speak when something is making me uncomfortable, and to look and not be afraid. So trusting is definitely up on it. I could go through all of these and know that I have seen an quote unquote improvement in this person's life of all of these. And of course and that can go forward still, but for now we're just in this state. So pick up the course, open it to any page and read. So chances are the word you will appear on that page. Hey, let's do that. I got a Course in Miracles FIP edition, 3rd edition. That's the other thing. There's many editions of Course in Miracles if you're new. And that's a whole little story, of course. But the truth of it is that really it doesn't matter where you're reading anything from, whether it be a Course in Miracles or the Bible or the Tao. The bottom fundamental line, the fundamental truth always shines through, no matter what your source is or path. So, but I do love A Course in Miracles. So we're gonna just open the page. What are we gonna read? Here it is. You can give up the god of sickness for your brothers. In fact, you would have to do so if you give them up for yourself. First sentence, you, yourself, 4 times. So yeah, chances are the word you will appear on that page. The course was written for you. Reading the course, you feel as though you have returned home and you are now conversing with a long-lost friend. You are being reintroduced to something very, very familiar, your true self. And my goodness, when, well, the first time I think I was doing the lessons, I didn't last with them the first time I tried very long, because I just was like, I didn't get it. I'm like, what? Everything in this, it doesn't mean anything. It just didn't sit with this one. But that conversing with that long lost friend, it is that, in that, like when I was younger, even talking to myself within my mind, I recognized that already. And that was my true self. I see now. Absolutely. Oh dear, page 4, and we're like 15 minutes into it. It might take me 3 years to read this book, but we'll get there. Oh, I hope everybody's doing okay. I feel that I'm here, and I know people, I'm sure, are also here, but thank you. Oh, I just turned that on. Whoops. Oh my goodness. Okay. I don't like to hear myself, as I'm sure you all have that same thing. Let's go to a radical philosophy. That's awesome. Philosophy, of course, that's going to be present because of the author or scriber being a psychologist. The course is a radical philosophy in that it asks us to engage in a total reversal in thinking. Our perception, it says, is upside down and backwards. Boy, is it ever. We are to stop looking for the inside on the outside. We are to do a complete 180. We are learning to see the world in a wholly new light, no longer from the perspective of the ego. Rather now do we see wholly from the realm of spirit. Radical means root, and the course is taking us all the way to the core of our most basic problem, the mind's decision for the ego. At this point, and this point only, can we undo mistaken perception, choose once again, and begin to follow a path that leads us home. And so, like, the book, Living A Course in Miracles, it just has spoken to me I've tried to finish it and read it many times and have gotten wherever I've gotten, and it's all perfect. But the reason it really has been calling out, I believe, is just the living A Course in Miracles part. I'm done with intellectualizing. And there's a lot of groups that get together and still do that. And I think for the most part, it's all helpful, right? When we're all together reading and joining. However, sometimes it can get into a spiritual ego situation. And I recognized myself in that at the beginning when I had a spreadsheet of what I was doing with ACIM, and it was a lot. I think one day I'm going to share it. Actually, I'm going to share my screen and share with you just to show you how my ego had taken control of my spirituality. And it's kind of funny, but yeah, I just was reading and listening to a lot of people. And what I've learned clearly now is the answers are within me, and to look within more than from out. So that's why I really wanted to dive in and commit to reading John Mundy's text, because I want to live A Course in Miracles. I want to live and always see the change in I can see that choice point and be like, yeah, I do choose peace instead of this, always, in all ways. So the complete 180, and even in this, I can say that there's so many things in my life that have already complete 180'd. I'm 51, I think 51 of my years young, and I used to be a completely different person, and in the personality perspective, I completely flipped. So it's just seeing that the beliefs are really untrue, because how could I be a person that was really like almost obsessively, compulsively driven with cleaning, for example, and to now where I'm just like a mess or dirty, like what is it? Like there's space for it all, right? It just is my interpretation of it. And even the complete 180, even having a child born a daughter or a female biologically, and now they're trans. My child is my son, and so I feel like that's a complete 180. And there's like just a lot of other different things, personal and no private thoughts, but I won't get right into maybe some of that yet here. I'll wait, and you guys might not want to come back if I go full throttle into all of it. So we'll just leave it at that. It's the complete 180. I love it because it's seen that none of them are true. Like none of what is true about either of those states. It really is just this now moment here now that is the truth. So we are learning to see the world in a wholly new light, no longer from the perspective of the ego. Rather, now do we see wholly from the realm of spirit. Radical means root, and the Course is taking us all the way to the core of our most basic problem, the mind's decision for ego. At this point and this point only, can we undo mistaken perception, choose once again, and begin to follow a path that leads us home. I know I read that already, but it's all good, right? Living the Course means we stop blaming ourselves, and thus inevitably we cease blaming others. Yeah, I read that. We stop blaming ourselves, but I don't blame myself, but I also take responsibility for what I see. I think that's important. I take responsibility because I've chosen to be in the wrong mind, and I can even see how a lot of the things like sickness and the things I've been experiencing in this body, some of those have been very convenient for me. I mean, having chronic pain and all of these whatever this challenges with health, whatever, not challenges, I don't believe anymore. they really were helpful along the way of just even learning more about myself and that my true self from within, and even being able to speak about what I'm thinking and accepting that I do project it. And I can totally see that happening. So living the Course means gaining freedom from judgment, anger, and condemnation. Means freedom from guilt and fear. The goal of the Course is peace and happiness. And I guess that happiness too, that's changed for me also. I didn't understand what true happiness was before, because I was always in either a fight or flight mode, or drinking alcohol to numb myself from having to live in this world that I didn't believe anyway, even before the Course. Like, what the hell am I doing here? I did not believe it was real. But yeah, people don't like when you say stuff like that. They think you're cray-cray. So I learned to stop doing that too, which is probably right when you cover it all up, your truth. Living the Course means gaining freedom from all of those things that I just read. And the aim is at taking us all the way to heaven. Pick up the Course, turn to any page, start reading, and you'll soon say, wow, who wrote this? What we have is a clear reflection of the truth, beautifully written. And if we have the ears to hear, it is also impeccably clear. Now, if you read A Course in Miracles and you do not find it impeccably clear, do not use that as an opportunity to guilt yourself. It's also predicated upon we have the ears to hear, and we only can always hear. I can only hear what I can hear at the time that I hear it. And that's true. I mean, I can't, guilt myself to thinking that, like, I did that in the beginning. Like, I must be an idiot because I don't understand this Course. I don't understand these lessons. But I really did. I think that Manual for Teacher was very helpful for me. That's what I started with. Like, after trying the lessons and all that, that's the section I started with. And I feel like it was, for lack of better words, easier to understand than the text or the lessons. I'm sure everybody's experience is different, but again, if the clarity isn't there, just keep going. Just read it. You don't have to believe it. You don't have to believe truth for truth to be true. There's that saying, lie is still a lie, even if everyone believes it. And truth is still truth, even if nobody believes it. So here's a quote: simplicity is very difficult for twisted minds. So it's just the mind, the thinking mind's got it all twisted. The Course makes no effort to teach what cannot be easily understood. It is simple, direct, and straightforward. It pulls no punches. Truth is true. Truth is simple. What's not simple is that we are not simple. Our minds are convoluted. Truth is consistent. We're inconsistent. We try to give part of our allegiance to God, in brackets, love, so we can replace the word God with love. See, that's helpful for this one. And part to the ego, which is fear. And we fall off into the middle. Another quote here. The lessons you have taught yourself have been so overlearned and fixed, they rise like heavy curtains to obscure the simple and the obvious. Yes, yes, yes. Heavy curtains. Oh my goodness. Is that beautiful or what? It's like just, I can feel that they're like over the eyes, had these heavy curtains drawn to obscure this simplicity of love and that everything is happening as it should in the flow of this creative, confident force. Although the course is simple, it is easy to read the course and not understand or be willing to accept it. We don't hear to get the course because we have so overlearned the lessons of the ego and we are so accustomed to its voice. We don't even know there is another voice, a voice of reason and sanity. We don't hear the course because we don't want to. As with all recalcitrant children, we have an authority problem. Who among us wants to hear that the self we made and the world we have made to go with it is not real? Oh my goodness. Living the course means I'm going to have to completely lay aside the idea of a separate, independent self. And who wants to do that? And at the beginning, I sure as heck didn't want to. And here's a quote we'll end today on, or no, I might be able to finish this section here, about 30 seconds. The world you seem to live in is not home to you. And somewhere in your mind, you know that this is true. And I knew this very young. I truly did. I see it clearly. Imagine for a moment that there is a dictator, a despot, a tormentor who seeks possession of your mind. We think we have freedom, that we can do whatever we want, and yet this thing we call an ego can take over the mind so that we are not even aware that it is taking control. Still, no matter how great the seduction, there remains something in the back of the mind which says, this isn't it. The world you see is not reality. There must be another way. And the quote, belief that there is another way of perceiving is the loftiest idea of which ego thinking is capable. That is because it contains a hint of recognition that the ego is not the self. And isn't it so great that at least in this mind, this thinking mind, there is still a belief that there is another way of perceiving. So grateful for that. That went by quick, everybody. I'm just again so grateful for being able to share here. And I'm going to come back next week, same day, Thursday, same time. It's what are we? 1:30 Eastern, I guess it is 1:30. It's 11:30 Mountain Time for me. And I hope to see you all soon. Take care.
Thank you, Audrey. Yes, we'll see you tonight, hopefully at the deep dive, possibly. Anyway, love you, sweetheart. Thank you so much. And this has been wonderful. And you'll see it on